Hello, and welcome to another week of college football talk, chat, breakdown,
Hell yeah.
therapy. What do we want to call this? I feel like this year for Iowa State.
Sorry, Mike was off. But we need some therapy after that last Saturday game there, Bryant.
Boy, we've needed a lot of therapy this year, man. That's so I would say we do well. Thank everyone for joining us here. We do appreciate all the interaction we're going to get tonight. But yeah, we'll kind of break down week 12. We got a lot more coming up, and I don't know. We got some Iowa State news that I might just spring on these two guys. But playoff pictures coming up soon. We only got 2 weeks of the regular season. Heisman. There's a lot of stuff ramping up in this college football season, man.
Yes.
Only 2 weeks left.
Good time of year for college football.
Oh, it's come and gone way too fast, man. Even in a bad year like this one, or not as good of a year, I'll say, for Iowa State, I'm gonna miss her in a couple weeks. Unless we get those miracle 2 wins here. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we have even if we don't make it to a bowl season is still fun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Discussing it, just all the potential matchups they can have. I mean, hell, Iowa and Kentucky, probably a couple of the longest tenured teams in college football, they never played each other until last year. So, I mean, that's what makes it so great.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a lot to talk about, so let's just kind of jump right into it. I know we can find a way to derail later, but we'll start with our trivia question here. It's a little leading, but I thought this one is interesting. Which University of Miami has more wins all time? Miami of Florida or Miami of Ohio?
Ohio.
I'm assuming you're trying to bash on my second favorite team, so I'm going to go with Ohio.
Yeah, it is Ohio. I can't remember where I read. I believe it was like Brent McMurphy on Twitter. That's where, don't spoil it for yourself. That's usually where I get a lot of my trivia questions from. But yes, Miami of Ohio has more wins than the Miami of Florida. Ohio has 711 wins to Florida's 648.
Wow.
So there you go.
Nice.
If anything, people have learned more today because of this podcast.
Oh yeah. The more you know. We need like that NBC rainbow.
Yeah. The more you know.
The more you know.
Absolutely. So, I would say we'll jump into it with the playoff rankings here. Not much has changed. Oregon did drop down because of their loss to Washington last week, but Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, TCU 4, 5 Tennessee, 6 LSU, and then 7 USC.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you guys think? Are you any disagreement? Are we upset LSU with 2 losses is still ahead of USC with 1 loss? What are we feeling?
I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with these. I know last year around this time, we were giving the college football playoff committee a lot of hate. And now I'm just like, yeah, I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Like, these are the hot takes you guys log on and listen to us
if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen with these takes. Damn.
I don't like LSU being above 9-1 USC or 9-1 Clemson or 9-1 North Carolina. I think that's bullshit. I don't like any of that. I don't think a 2-loss team should be above any 1-loss team. That's for damn sure.
That is okay. I'm glad you said it, Joey, and we can kind of move on from there. But I'd say sorry. This is our janky little operation, but here's the actual picture of it. One, I don't know why they went to the 7-team format this year, other than to include LSU last week. But I would say right now, I kind of agree. I do have to agree with it, though. Other than, like you said, LSU, I think wins and losses have to mean something. I mean, LSU is just behind Tennessee, and Tennessee throttled them 40-13, I believe.
Yep.
I mean that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, yeah, they not only that, but they also lost to Florida State, who is a mediocre ACC team, and somehow they're still above two other ACC 9-1 teams. One, that its only loss is to Notre Dame, and two, I don't even know who North Carolina lost to, but still not
Notre Dame.
Yeah, okay. Even they both lost to Notre Dame, so bullshit in my opinion.
So there, and that's kind of the argument we kind of go back and forth with, like the Big 12 and just like the strength here is why is it a loss for LSU can lose to an ACC and again a mediocre team, but the ACC's 9 wins versus mediocre ACC teams don't matter anymore. And I get it. It was way early in the year. It was honestly a fluke loss by LSU with all of the mistakes, but regardless, it was still a loss. So I think it'll play out all the same. And again, if LSU somehow runs the table and they beat UAB this weekend, I don't know how they're going to get through the Dragons, but I can't remember who they played the last week. But then if they go through Georgia, I mean, honestly, with the 4-team format and the precedent before this, I don't see how LSU jumps into the playoff picture, even though it has very good wins versus Bama. I mean, you can't jump a Tennessee that throttled you by 3 touchdowns. You know, it's if Georgia lost, I think it would have to be whoever the Ohio State Michigan winner would be. Georgia would still be in there. I think Tennessee should be in there, and then you really have to figure out how TCU played out, how USC played out. Honestly, Clemson, North Carolina, if they have staggering wins the last 3 weeks here, I think they might jump in, but I don't see how a 2-loss team can jump into a 4-team playoff.
Yep, same here. It's
you got to have that SEC badge right here on the chest.
Yeah, and I'm not even trying to take anything away from LSU. Like, they're having a great season. Don't get me wrong, but that doesn't mean that they should be in the top 7.
Yeah. If I could change anything, it would just be flip-flopping USC and LSU.
Yes, I agree. Because LSU's 1 loss was on the road versus an aggressive Utah that went for 2 at the end of the game, or overtime. I'm blanking on the details here, but I mean, it was like, so that 1-point loss isn't as big versus a very good Utah team. I mean, we're talking about how they were in the playoff picture.
You mean USC?
No, I'm sorry. USC lost to Utah, who we were talking about in the playoff picture earlier.
Yeah, you said LSU.
Oh, oops, my bad. Yep. So, I mean, I think it'll play out. USC has to play UCLA this weekend. Then they have to play last week of the year Notre Dame, and then it's I believe it's one of the Oregon, Utah, UCLA, whichever combination. They're gonna have 3 tough games to end the year, and I think that can kind of skyrocket them into the playoffs here. Again, if they take care of business, but it is run by Lincoln Riley, and we saw what he did at Oklahoma in the postseason. So
yeah. Shit. I had a thought and it just went away. So let's just move on. That was great. Great podcast.
Yeah. But like, unfortunately, I hate to agree so much, but I think we're just to the point where we see the kind of gimmicky portion of this, of the whole playoffs. And I think we just know at this point, we got to play it out. Now, one thing I was going to bring up as well, and I'm bringing up the graphic here, so I'm stalling a little bit, is why couldn't we start a 12-team playoff this year? So I'm pulling it up right now on the screen. I mean, look how awesome that looks right now. You have all of the teams. This is probably the one true year where we've had enough teams that could somewhat compete. But I mean, here's your top 4. You know, this is kind of filling in, but Georgia won, Ohio State, TCU, USC. But then look at the matchups on the outside. Clemson going to Bama for a playoff game. Utah going to Baton Rouge. Penn State going to Knoxville. I mean, hell, UCF, you got your group of 5 new Big 12 team going to the big house in Michigan. I mean, that's a fun fucking time, man.
How is there still not a 9-1 North Carolina in there?
Oh, I don't know. This is, I would say, this is who is I think this is like college football edits or something. They do. I would say they make some decent graphs like this. But yeah, but again, throw Actually, I don't know how North Carolina isn't in above Penn State there, but
Right. I
but I
wonder
mean,
if
yeah, I mean, throw in. Go ahead.
I wonder if it was from winning conference championships or losing conference championship games, but yeah, still having Penn State in there doesn't make any sense. Weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
but either way, I mean, God,
Mhm.
I just cannot wait for this 12-team playoff to be implemented, man.
100%.
It can finally shut us Big 12 homers up about give the little guy a chance, and then when our shit gets pushed in, we can just say it's unfair, but we were at least given a chance. I'm just
Mhm.
kidding. We had an opportunity, and guess what? If you're the 12 seed, yeah, you have to go to the big house, and guess what? It's going to be a tough matchup on the road because you don't deserve an easy road if you're a top 12. That's why that is where people that are trying to say that the regular season will be diminished if we do this are wrong. Now you're playing for playoff position to get the bye in the first round. Now you're trying to host a game rather than going on the road late in the year.
I was going to say, isn't it so that the lower seeds host and not the higher seeds?
No, higher seeds would always host.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, lower seeds would.
Yeah. Why would number 10 host number 7? You know.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I think we're saying the same thing just backwards. Yeah. I mean, number 7 LSU would always host number 10 Utah because they had the better record. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but I don't think. For some reason, I thought they were making it backwards. Hold on.
I think they put it in here backwards. This might not be the best edit. I'm gonna stop sharing it now. But yeah,
No,
I mean,
no. I know what you're saying. No, you are right that normally the lower seed, so like the 7 would host the 9. But I thought they were for the football play. The 12-team ones, they were doing the higher seed, so like 9 would host 7.
No.
Yeah, why would they give the advantage to the higher seed, you know?
To even out the playing field, I thought.
No, that's where, and I agree with that. No, if you're number 5 and just barely missed the playoffs, you get to host a game in the playoffs. So, no, I'm glad we can work all these kinks out live on.
Yeah,
right
they're watching the committee right now. They are tuned in.
Joey, anything you want to say to Gary Barta? Is he still on the committee?
Give me some of Kirk's money.
Share the love, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean he's earning it this year, dude. We'll get to it in a little bit, but he's starting to get him back in the Big Ten West picture here, bud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean they looked amazing against basically that Spider-Man gif of Wisconsin. I mean they both looked at each other, looked exactly the same. It was a great game. So yeah, I was helping Jack put up their roof on their garage and stuff, but I was able to watch the game for the most part. And man, they look good. I can't deny it. That offense was clicking. That Caleb Johnson is going to be a baller moving forward.
Mm-hmm. One thing about Iowa before we kind of we'll get back to them as well. I'm surprised with the Nagurski Award that no Iowa defense. I mean, Iowa's been, if not the top defense, top 3 minimum, and no individual player got onto the Nagurski or anything.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't understand. They have, by stats wise, the best defense in the nation, and there's hardly anyone being for anything for national stuff. So it's weird, but whatever. No respect.
Well, speaking of a individual or team award, however you want to look at it, we got I would say just kind of the Heisman hopefuls. We're kind of breaking it down. I don't know why it's spaced so weird there, but I would say I just pulled up the best odds for the Heisman for the last 5 weeks here. Right now, C.J. Stroud is leading the way. It's plus 135 for him to win a Heisman. Hendon Hooker at plus 350. Blake Corum, the running back for Michigan, he's plus 500. Drake May, if he wasn't on North Carolina, he'd probably be leading right now, to be honest. He's plus 500. And then Stetson Bennett is in 5th place at plus 1,000.
Nice. Real quick, before we touch on more of the Heisman stuff, I knew there was some weird stipulations with this playoff. So the top 4 seeds can never be an independent team because they don't have a conference championship. And that means an independent will also never have a bye in the playoffs. And then after the first round, where the 5 through 8 teams host the 9 through 12 teams, the next round, the number 1 team picks the bowl it wants to play in, followed by the number 2 team, the 3 team, and the 4 team. So they get to pick their sites that they're going to play at. That I knew there was some weird stipulations with this.
Okay. Okay, I can see where your confusion would be at that point.
So you have to be a conference champion to be in the top 4?
Yep, to get your bye.
So that will never let 2 teams from the same conference be in the top 4.
Correct. And that also means Notre Dame, Army, UConn, and UMass will never be among the top 4 teams unless they join.
Nor will they ever anyway.
Make sure you included UMass and you forgot Navy. What about New Mexico State, Joey? They wouldn't be able to host a playoff game?
Nope.
Damn.
I'm just naming the ones that are on the CBS Sports document. So, yeah, it was Notre Dame, Army, UConn, and UMass.
Well, and we got a couple years where we can learn all these rules as well. But, yeah, that is interesting. And that's probably – unfortunately, that's probably the TV money coming in and trying to force Notre Dame to join. Basically, only Notre Dame. This is all Notre Dame, and BYU has already done it, but force them to join a conference at this point.
Yep, exactly. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt the Heisman stuff. I was like, man, I know there were some weird stipulations. So,
yeah, no, you're good, dude. But yeah, I mean, the Heisman. I mean, what I'm if it's me and I'm looking at this list, I am really shocked how Hendon Hooker isn't above C.J. Stroud with the talent level that we knew going into the season, in Ohio State being number 2, or Drake May. I would say it just seems like, again, we complain about it every year, but it's just the best player on the best team award, which I think Hendon Hooker has lifted his team up more compared to a CJ Stroud that, I mean, CJ Stroud, he had 2 other teammates that were like top 15 or top 20 like favorites to win Heisman. I don't know how he's lifting them up, how he's carrying that team.
Have you watched them play? The rest of those guys that were on that list for Ohio State are atrocious right now. So he's the whole reason they're winning.
He's got Marvin Harrison Jr. on his team, though.
And he's on this list I'm looking at.
Yeah. He wasn't even listed on their starting like top 4 receivers at the beginning of the year. So good for him. But yeah, I knew it all along.
Did you see
I picked CJ Stroud 1-1 on our Heisman pool. So this guy.
Did you see that real quick, just a moment? Did you see that crazy catch he had? It was like he was parallel with the ground and just one foot was dragging on the inside. I mean, they've got this. Yep. It is just amazing year in and year out, the crazy athleticism that Ohio State has. But no, you did call it with CJ Stroud. I'm not shocked Bryce Young is not on this list. He's got 2 losses, and you could argue, with him winning last year, he should have been able to elevate his team to win those games. I'm not really sure if there's anyone that I personally think is missing out. I
don't know his stats and if he's having like a crazy statistical year. But Max Duggan, like, I'm going to be the Big 12 homer here. He is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
He's 6th.
7th in the one I'm looking at. Now, he's taken TCU, who was picked to be 10th out of 10 in the Big 12, and put them in the playoffs right now. Like I said, I don't know his stats off the top of my head if he's having a huge statistical year or not, but it's pretty impressive what he has done.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I think that is where he's kind of faltering because, he has some solid stats. I mean, Joey, can you look up just CJ Stroud real quick? I think he's got more touchdowns, but Duggan right now, he's got 2,531 yards. 25 touchdowns, but only 2 interceptions. So, you can really make the argument that, and honestly, if it's not Duggan, his running back behind him, 1,147 yards and 13 touchdowns. So, he's got, I think they got a solid quarterback running back duo, but what's CJ's stats?
Before that, Max Duggan from
TCU.
No, originally native of.
He's from Iowa, isn't he?
Council Bluffs, Iowa. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I was like,
But no,
hell yeah.
Stroud has.
That's why he should win the Heisman. He's from the Heartland.
Yeah.
He's got my vote now. I will drop C.J. Stroud and pick up Max Duggan. But C.J. Stroud, 2,750 yards, 34 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 90.9 QBR. So tied for first in touchdowns and first in QBR, 20th in interceptions and 18th in yards.
Mm-hmm. So that would probably be the one, because again, we got to be big. We're losing our touch on our Big 12 homerism. We're being a little too realistic. We gotta.
Now, I don't think he should be in first in this, but I think he should be higher than 7th.
And he could, and you never know, he could elevate himself the last couple weeks. I mean, this is where I think it was Brandon Walker from Barstool talking about this award could come down to basically the Ohio State-Michigan game.
Mm-hmm.
Who balls out and wins that game? Does Blake Corum put him on his back, or does C.J. Stroud have a 5-touchdown performance in that one game with how equal they are will vault them? You know, no Heisman voter. I mean, no AP voter, no Heisman voter. No one's watching every single game every week. That's going to be the game they're all watching with two of the big candidates. You know,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think his other part of this theory is also Hendon Hooker. He's got no big games left, so he can't really ball out at the end of the year. Drake May, it's kind of the same deal until you get to the championship game, because Hendon's out. He can't make it to the SEC game. And then Stetson Bennett, I mean, there's nothing he can do in the last 3 weeks that's going to propel him over the other 3 or 4.
Right.
Yeah, and
yep.
Duggan, he's got 2 games left plus the Big 12 championship that they're guaranteed to play in, even if they lose their last 2. He's got 3 games potentially. But, I mean, he's got to go nuts, I think. Yeah,
I mean, he off the top of my head, I am blanking on who TCU plays this weekend. I could scroll down Baylor. I mean, he could play Baylor and Iowa. He could play Baylor twice and Iowa State. I don't think there's going to be a big enough game to bring out to say that it's going to propel him up or bring him to New York or anything.
I don't either.
Maybe I'll just go to that game and just stay right where I'm at in Waco.
Well,
there you go.
Mm-hmm. Let us know what the temperature's like. Last time Iowa State was down there, it was really fucking hot. So
it's freezing. It's like 45 here right now. That's not freezing.
I wish it were 45 here right now.
Yeah.
Right.
For Texas, that's freezing though. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Anything else you guys want to touch on the Heisman, or just kind of see where we're at next week?
I got everything off my chest.
Yeah, I think Stroud's going to win it, and I think next in line should be Bo Nix, to be honest with you. So he sucks.
Mm-hmm. God, I was really hoping that. I mean, Will Anderson was one that we added to our Heisman pool, the unconventional like tight ends or defensive player. Like they just really didn't have anyone this year that really stood out. Like
they didn't have an Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, the Aiden Hutchinson type player. So, but we'll move on here and say we'll kind of break down our teams for the last week. Iowa 24, Wisconsin 10. I mean, Iowa took care of business. Mertz didn't look too good, but defense did it again, dude.
Yep, they did it again. And Caleb Johnson, he's gonna be a stud moving forward. He looked really good. I don't know. Pedras still, to me, just is inconsistent at times, but he's playing better. I mean, that's all we can ask for at this point because they're not going to do anything about it. So yeah, he's playing better. So just needs to be more consistent.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I didn't catch too much of the game, but I mean, again, we were kind of complaining about it on Monday's show. I mean, this is the classic Iowa. They have a couple game bump, and then all of a sudden they're falling backwards into the Big Ten championship. Man, just no one in your division wants to fucking win that thing.
Nope, not at all. And they go on the road to Minnesota this week, and we'll cover that in a little bit. But yeah, get past Minnesota, get past Nebraska. It's funny, there's like 6 teams that are in the running for the Big Ten West championship, and like no one controls their own destiny. Everyone has to have someone else lose in order to get in. It's crazy.
It isn't Purdue leading, and Purdue can control if they just win out, or do they even need help?
They need help.
See, I was reading an article the other day.
Yeah, I saw the scenarios today.
Yeah.
Either one of you, can you potentially pull that up or share? Because I know. Okay, so if Iowa wins out, but they have they have the tiebreaker versus Purdue. They don't versus Illinois. I would almost assume this is Iowa's to lose, unless I'm mistaken.
Hold on.
I saw it
No,
on. Is
you're
this
good.
a random Twitter, just a graphic?
But yeah, honestly, for the standings right now. Sorry, while Trent's actually looking that up here, I'm pulling up the Big Ten standings currently.
So here, I'll share my screen, but this is just an easy way to look at how crazy it is. Here's the graph for all the outcomes.
And for all you that hold on, I'll get it pulled up here. There you go. Oh my lord.
So if Iowa wins, then I don't even know how this all works, but Iowa will be champion in half of these things moving forward. It's insane. So Iowa win champion. Okay, there's so it is
or
Purdue.
Minnesota.
Purdue wins out, or if Purdue wins out and Iowa loses, they're the champ. Illinois is the champ, assuming a loss versus Michigan. A win versus Northwestern, and Purdue loses, and Minnesota loses, and Iowa loses. And then Iowa's champ if they win out, or they lose versus Minnesota and Purdue loses and Illinois loses, or they win versus Minnesota and Purdue wins. Jesus Christ, what is that?
So basically, for those that are just listening, it is Iowa can win out and they win, or Minnesota wins out. So this is a big weekend for both of those teams.
Can you guys hear that?
No.
No.
Oh, I just had oh my God, what is that noise? There, Jesus Christ, there's an ad playing. It's blaring in my ears.
No, that was Bryant. He figured out the sound bar.
Oh, well, fuck, that makes me excited.
Listen to this very professional pod we've got going. No IT issues at all. They need Illinois to lose one more. So, so Florida Rosedale, this kind of dictates the Big Ten West, barring if you beat one or the other, you're not losing the other game. I'm sorry, you're not losing to Nebraska. I mean, it's so this will be a good one to watch this weekend.
Hell yeah, I'm pumped, and it's supposed to be cold and kind of crappy, so I'm gonna do nothing but eat chili and watch football all day Saturday. It's gonna be glorious. And I was supposed to be off all next week, but I have to make a last-minute trip to St. Louis for work. But I'm actually going to be home for most of the podcast and actually be able to do it while Dart's there. So we'll have another Dart side at some point.
Nice.
Don't have to rely on that hotel Wi-Fi and shit.
No, I actually get the 210 megabytes that I pay for. So
damn.
And Joey mentioned his chili. I just gotta tell you guys that I won the chili cook-off today at work. So got the trophy.
Hey, Trent, I'm just glad someone on this podcast can win their work chili competition. That's all
I immediately texted and congratulated Clark because it's his recipe.
Well, hell yeah.
I asked him if I needed to FaceTime him to have a victory speech to my coworkers.
So knowing Clark, you did, of course, right?
No, he said, "I'll let you have all the glory." I said, "Thank you."
There we go. Yeah.
Good on you,
Carl. What a hell of a friend. Oh, shit. Yep. So, well, anything else you want to talk about on Iowa, Joey?
No. Well, I mean, as far as like last week, they just looked good. So I'm pumped moving forward. Do you want me to touch on moving this next week, or do you want to do that in a little bit?
Yeah, we'll do that in a little bit here.
Okay.
We got to get some soggy sorrows out of the way here. Talk about Iowa State lost another opportunity here. Lost to Oklahoma
You guys go
State.
ahead and start crying. I'm gonna start putting in my Chili's reward points while we're doing this.
Jesus, that actually should speak to the audience on how bad Iowa State football has been this year. A guy's going to put in his chili rewards points over listening to the game. Jesus. So, but Oklahoma State 20, Iowa State 14. I mean, tell me if you've heard this story before, Trent, but plenty of opportunities to win the game when we pissed it down our leg.
Haven't heard that in 7 days.
Yeah, 7 days, 14 days. We actually won 2 weeks ago.
True.
So, yeah.
So
But
with Iowa State to have the ball down 6 with an opportunity to go win that game with the drive was a goddamn miracle. Like,
dude,
they should have
it,
lost by, I think I texted you guys, Iowa State should have lost by 30.
yeah. I mean, it shows you one how bad Oklahoma State, or how honestly, I would say more how close we actually are to winning most of these games,
Yes.
but how we just cannot. And Campbell said it again in his presser this week about what do we need to do to improve these last 2 weeks and finish strong. And he's talking about we got to win in the margins. It's like that is the 100% reason we're losing is we're not doing that stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
We've lost in the margins all year.
yeah. And we're talking about we just need to like it's something we can just like fix instantly. Like we've been doing this for 10 weeks. I don't know. It's just a very frustrating. And again, it's a game we shouldn't be in. John Heacock deserves all the money he ever wants in the world for how this defense can keep us into so many games and we can't capitalize.
Yeah.
And no, we're not talking about an Iowa game either because Iowa's been capitalizing on their games. We just
I was
haven't been
gonna
able
say,
to turn that corner.
how did we become spitting images of each other as far as
Don't
teams go?
know.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think on Twitter all the time, it's like, in order to beat Iowa, you had to become Iowa. That's all I've been seeing the last few weeks.
Yeah, and then you have 5 turnovers in a game where I think Iowa State only had 12 possessions, and you turn the ball over 5 times.
Yeah,
not great.
I mean, we also and like we harp on Decker, and it's the easiest. He's the quarterback, But one, that line just gives him no time.
Yes.
He had 3 interceptions. One of them was off the hands of the receiver, I believe. So like you can't blame every single one of them on him. But like God, we had was it Noel this week? Touchdown, drops it.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter with a minute left, he had burned his defender and was behind everybody by like 3 yards. The pass was perfect. It was right here over his shoulder, just dropped.
Just Butterfingers.
He would have walked into the end zone on a 75-yard touchdown pass to win the game, and and they can't. They haven't taken advantage of any opportunity this year.
No, they had a defense here again, a team from Oklahoma that allowed over 250 yards of rushing the week before, and we can't muster over 60. I mean, this line has something wrong with it. I don't know what's going on, but
it does. And you touched on it too. I feel like when we pass the ball, Decker's he's running. Well, he's not running for his life. He doesn't have time to run. Like the pocket collapses immediately, so he can't even get out of it, and he's sacked.
You know what the sad thing is, and this is just Iowa State fans really looking into it now that we've had a big sample size in Matt Campbell's tenure, and this is again we have the guy, we have the right coach, but I think it's fair that we can criticize him when patterns are starting to come up. This in the margin stuff is not happening. The special teams is not happening. We have seen regression from these quarterbacks. I mean, I remember when we'd see tape on Deckers in high school, you're going, "Oh my God, this kid's amazing." When Brock Purdy first came into Iowa State his freshman year, we talked the last couple of years on how he regressed. I legitimately think they're not developing quarterbacks. We talked about it, the same thing earlier in the year with Iowa in their, with their wide receivers and stuff. Iowa State's doing the exact same thing, just we're not developing quarterbacks at all. But Brock Purdy went from kind of the, mobile RPO gunslinger to now, his senior year, he was a shell of himself if you really want to look at it that way.
Yep.
And now you're seeing the same thing with Deckers where it's just, I don't know if it's something with the offense. I'm just unsure, but it just seems like every quarterback is so hyped and they have the talent. And you saw it with that dropped touchdown pass. He can chuck the ball long and he's accurate, but it's just so inconsistent between those times on making a great play to we're wondering if he even has pocket presence,
Yeah. So, and I think Deckers can be good. Like, I think he's got the arm talent. He can make the throws. He's just not seeing the field.
Yeah.
I think, like we've said it all year, he takes a snap. That first read better be open because he can't see the field.
I mean, and some of that I think is him just being a younger, inexperienced quarterback. And
He's
I think
only a sophomore. I mean,
him being a sophomore, as well as he's got to make the first read, because I mean, I don't know who number 55 was. This will be my last specific gripe, but this line is not creating any time for him to throw the ball. But I remember on that 4th and 1, I've not seen a line get blown up so badly on 4th and 1. Like, this is a critical. You know what we're doing? We're running straight at you from shotgun, which is the stupidest thing. But like, our line got blown back 2 to 3 yards, and then Hunter is fighting the last 2 to 3 to even like attempt to get back to the line.
Yeah.
You know, we need to get rid of 4th and 1 shotgun plays. Get under center, and he's 6'3", 240. Yes. Run up the fucking center's butt. You know,
I hate when it's 4th and inches and you're in shotgun, and then you're going to force whoever's running the ball to run with it for 5 yards.
Yep.
To get the first down by an inch, whereas you could just get under center and literally fall forward.
Yep.
Unless you're Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
No. But I mean, it's just so frustrating, because like I felt like I was smart, and I was like, well, last year at the Baylor game, that's why we lost. But now it's like, we've messed up so many of these 4th and 1s. What's the difference if we fumble it there, or if we get blown up 3 yards behind the line? Because our line, like I said, our line does not have the power to push anyone off a yard or two, like Iowa's in the past has, in some of these better schools, to get that push. We're getting blown up at the line, if anything, and we don't have a mobile enough quarterback in order to make the play if the line does get blown up.
Yep, 100% agree.
I'm glad that
Derrick Henry just threw a touchdown pass.
Yeah, I saw that. This is not helping the fucking under right now.
It's not helping my Derrick Henry pick in my fantasy league either.
This is the last time I start driving on a Thursday night. I came back here. I was like, oh, I'm going to take a nap, and no big deal. And I forgot all about the NFL game. I was going to pick Tulane to cover. Forgot to put that on our sheet, so that looks like a lie now, so I'm not going to do that. Damn it. I need to stop napping.
I was able to get that one earlier today, but I mean, both of my games, I have the under in the NFL game, and I got Tulane cover. Tulane is throttling SMU 49-7 on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
God, I wish I wasn't as much of a pussy and I'd put more than $5.
I think that was like a 29.5 point spread, wasn't it? Tulane was favored by 29.5, I think.
3.5.
Yeah.
Oh, ESPN. It must have been, when I was looking, it must have been a live bet then.
Yeah.
Because it was 29.5. Okay.
Hell, you'd be sitting still pretty on that one. 42-point spread right now, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that one, it was again, the story of the season, opportunities and not taking advantage of it. But I don't know. We got 2 weeks to prove that if we've got some fight in us. Texas Tech is a very winnable game here. And then with us, you never know. We've been giant killers before late in the season when we're not supposed to win. So
yeah, look out, TCU.
Yeah, look out, Horned Frogs. Where no, I think it's like basically
they do
the
like this.
Hook'em Horn. Oh, it's the 2.
I think it's like this.
Did you just do a cat hiss with the horned frog?
No, it's a horned frog. They hiss. They like when they spit the poison at you.
They go ribbit.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I've never seen a horned frog in my life, so
not indigenous to Iowa.
Yeah, exactly.
Nope.
Kansas State 31, Baylor 3. Did you guys watch this game at all?
Just flipped it over a couple times to check the score. That was about it.
Yeah. I would say that was going to be more. Clark's been missing the last couple of weeks. He's supposed to be the one that keeps us up with the Sunshine State. So
yeah,
we'll kind of move on from that. Alabama, another one-possession game, beat Ole Miss 30-24. Georgia throttled Mississippi State 45-19. TCU, very close game, and defense got it done versus Texas 17-10. UCF Tulane 38-31. Washington beat Oregon late in that game. Bo Nix's horrendous last pass attempt. I was almost laughing, to be honest. But really, the only thing that I have on these big games was, and I send it to the group so you know you've seen it, that Stephen A. Smith clip. I've never wanted to punch someone so hard. The way he just read through the Big 12 games and the way he was going, I expect competition. And it was like, you going through TCU's game. Like, he had
They
credit.
played Oklahoma. It's like,
Yeah.
if an SEC team played Oklahoma and beat them, they beat Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They played Oklahoma. It's like, shut the hell up, dude.
Texas. Like, when he started off, it was like, oh yeah, Colorado. That's looking like a terrible Power 5 win right now. Tarleton State, yep. And then he was just going through like, you mean like, and it was like Kansas State. It's like, you mean a ranked team? Kansas. I mean, you can tell the analysts that have actually watched college football in the last decade, because they all think it's the still running gun 61-58 Baylor, West Virginia, TCU, Big 12 days. They haven't watched in the last decade where defense is a little more prevalent. Not as top notch as the in the country, but like they just think it's the same Big 12 year after year after year.
So, and even when he goes, they played Colorado. That's still a Power 5 team. That isn't Austin P, who Alabama is playing this weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the first
Western
thing that
Kentucky.
came to my mind.
I've heard some SEC people talk. Does it make a big difference to you guys about them playing their week FCS or Maction game, whatever you want to call it, late in the year, or week 3 or 4? Which I think it does, but what do you guys think?
I think it's worse. Like,
Mhm.
play them at the beginning of the year, like the rest of the conferences, and those are your tune-up games. And then get into your conference play and play your conference all the way through. Don't play 2 games, get in your conference play, and then, oh my God, we need another bye week. We can look past these guys 10 weeks in and regroup to get back into conference play. I think it looks worse.
That is Joey. Go ahead.
Yeah. I wish some of these teams would start upsetting these SEC teams, because then they wouldn't be scheduling this shit like this. I don't like it. I get why they do it, because they're getting more national games at the beginning of the season and can do better out of conference stuff that way. I still don't like it. I think it's bullshit. And like Trent said, it's basically just another bye week for them. So, and it just kind of sucks. And it also takes some of those smaller schools out of their rhythm in their conference. I mean, they're in the heat of trying to win as much as they can so they can go to their championship stuff, and then they go and get their asses kicked by Alabama and shit. Like, it's stupid.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, both of you, where this is a glorified bye week, which late in the season, absolutely, you do not think before he was out there for a year, like, do you not think if we had a bye week with Jyrell Brock and getting him healthy again, do you not think we would have wanted that earlier in the year? Of course we would. I think every team this year wants this bye week right now for the get right game, for rivalry week, for the last week of the season, right before going into the Big Ten championship or whoever it is. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, the SEC's always been able to get away with doing kind of how they whatever they want, but I agree. It's just kind of glorified. I'm pulling up the schedule here for the there are still a couple SEC games this week. But again, nothing noteworthy in my opinion. I was going to pull it up here. Which of these games here do you believe is the best one for where we can see an upset in the SEC potentially?
South Carolina against Tennessee. I don't know. There's not a lot of New Mexico State probably over Missouri.
New Mexico State. Oh, okay. If it's me, if I have to choose one of the true, not Florida and Vanderbilt or anything, which Vandy, congrats to them, they got their first SEC win and with their coach here. He was crying on the sidelines. I was happy. It was a little Paul Rhodes-esque. I'm proud of this team. We're building something, But I think if any team is going to upset, it's going to be Western Kentucky at Auburn. I think just with the success they're 7-4 this year. And they're playing an Auburn team that fired their head coach. I know Cadillac got them the win last week. What's that?
Tulane. These guys up. It's awesome. Sorry.
Oh, I thought you were looking at how our under is not looking good on Thursday Night Football. Packers just scored. It's 20-15, and they're going for the 2-point here. But
Oh, no.
I would say, looking at it, I don't really think maybe Arkansas. I mean, they held LSU close last week, but
Mhm.
I don't know if that's a true upset. Just comparing it to the actual the teams you pay to play them.
You know who I want to upset, but I don't think it's going to happen, is UMass beating Texas A&M.
Oh,
that,
okay.
that very well could happen. Texas A&M is a dumpster fire right now.
So
Dude,
I heard a stat the other day that their recruiting classes, based on talent gap for their starters and the people they have on their team, they are the worst, or I guess best way to put this, most overhyped team in the history of NCAA football. Like that is they are with all that talent. It's crazy.
That doesn't shock me though. They're Mr. 8-4 for a reason because they
Right.
consistently underperform. They just had the #1 recruiting class, and they can't put anything together. And honestly, it kind of the Raiders situation we talked about yesterday about how they couldn't pay to get rid of their coach. The same thing reminds me of Texas A&M. I know they got all the money in the world. You can't pay $84 million for a guy to not coach your team, and he
No.
refuses to get an offensive coordinator.
Which is insane. I mean, what has Jimbo Fisher done? He won a national championship with Jameis Winston. Like, other than that, he hasn't had amazing teams anywhere. Like, I don't know,
You
man.
haven't seen the development.
No, and he can recruit like a motherfucker, but he can't do anything with them on the field. It's crazy.
It's amazing how those checks clear every week, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Jealous.
no, it is truly. I think they're going to keep him for another year. But my goodness, if he doesn't produce next year, I mean, we were joking about how they're going to go 8-4 again. They're about to go 4-8 this year. I mean, also with that, I've been staring at that line so much because after the Cum Bowl, I've been betting on mass games, hoping to keep hitting that rush of that under. Texas A&M is a 33.5-point favorite in that game.
Mhm.
I mean, I'll be honest. It is UMass. They should be. I mean, that should be a super easy bet this late in the season. But I mean, Texas A&M isn't all that they're hyped up to be. I'm a little worried that they won't be able to cover 33.5.
What's the
Against
over under?
UMass. 47 and a
Over
half.
under is 47.5.
So they're thinking 33 to 14.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. I guess
No,
be
that
like
wouldn't even be it. No.
41-7.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, once you say it like that, I mean, I don't think I'd feel good about putting money on a 1-9 UMass team covering versus any SEC team. I don't care if it's Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, Bama. I don't know if in good conscience, I might as well just throw that $5 bill out the window when I'm driving down the highway. I'm just going to risk it at that point. So,
which
well,
might be
let's see.
something I do tomorrow because there's multiple ways I can get home from here, and I'm gonna take the Kansas route. So when I stop for gas, I'm gonna put some bets in, baby.
Gonna take the old turnpike, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna
All
do
right.
the Pulse of the Heartland college football parlay and put $10 down to see if I can win big again. Well, big ever. We'll see.
Hell yeah.
Don plays over here needing advice, Joey. Big Ten games.
Yeah,
I
man.
would say, right now with the Michigan game, that'll be next week. Do they have bet? I guess so. With that game, they probably have a line already.
Wait, what?
For Michigan
So
OSU.
the 3 games he's got, he said, should I take Minnesota -2.5 over Iowa? Which
I wouldn't. No.
I don't think so. I mean, this might be the one time where, honestly, I feel like I was going to have a better offense and be able to outperform them just based on their money. I mean, or I'm not defense. Sorry.
Yep.
But,
And Minnesota's got a good
+1
defense.
right
I just don't think. I mean, if we want to just jump into that, I could break it down real quick. Minnesota's got a good defense, but I don't think that they have a good enough offense to do anything against Iowa's defense. So, yeah, I like Iowa to win that outright.
I say 2.5. Take the Iowa money line, man.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I would do. And as far as Michigan over Ohio State, yeah, well, that's a week early, but I am taking Michigan in my picks over Illinois to cover that 18 points.
I'm sorry, man. Ever since I saw Ohio State struggle versus Northwestern, that I saw Iowa push around like it was like the varsity team playing versus the junior high team. It was just like push them to the side. They're already in the back. I mean, that might have been one of the most disrespectful games I've ever seen because it's not an FCS team. It's like, okay, you kind of expect it. These are both two Big Ten teams.
Mhm.
I mean, Northwestern's had Fitzgerald there forever, and I still think he's the coach for him.
Oh yeah.
And I think they have the right expectations. It's kind of where Iowa State is. We don't expect you to win big every year, but we expect you to be competing, in which they do. And honestly, that Ohio State game probably earned them a few merit points with competing versus Ohio State. They weren't going to beat them by ever, but
if there was one big knock on Ohio State, and this is, I know I keep saying it, and I'm going to say it again next week, why Michigan's going to beat Ohio State just isn't physical on either side of the ball. They get pushed around by a lot of teams. They can score in bunches, don't get me wrong, and they will put up a shit ton of points on people. But if you go up against a team like Michigan that's got a good defense and is going to punch you in the fucking nose, man, I think Michigan's gonna take it to them next week. So
right,
but
punch
we
you
gotta
right in
wait
the
to get there.
schnoz.
Yeah, we gotta wait and get there first. So
I don't know why I just thought of it. I was just Home Alone 2 when the tool chest falls down the stairs and they just push it out and they just got the big old flat nose. That's the pound of a 600-pound tool chest falling down the stairs. That's Michigan, what they're going to do to Ohio State next week. Joey, make that a meme and post it on Pulse the Heartland when Michigan covers not only 8, but they just outright win.
I'll get our social media intern on that because I don't know how to make memes.
We need to get our meme game stepped up. I feel like the couple that we've made have been top notch.
Right.
Yeah.
But we just don't do it often enough.
Yeah, I've gotten a little busy on Saturdays.
Yeah.
I'll be on TikTok and I'll be forgetting I'm watching a football game, and
I
don't know.
I get a little busy on Saturdays. Like, this has been the least college football I've watched in years. Like this past Saturday, I watched the Iowa State game. The rest of the day, I was hanging bikes on the wall in my garage and building a pantry.
Right now, Michigan is plus 220 money line. That's for number 3 at number 2. That seems like a big. I mean, usually that's kind of like a pick 'em, but plus 220. That is. I mean, I think Joey would agree. That's just disrespectful at this point.
Fuck yeah! So what's $10 win you then? $22.
So take that money line. That's a value right there.
Yeah.
10 to win 22.
Fuck yeah, I'd do that.
Well, move to a state where you can bet, Joey.
Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Maybe I'll put a future with that game and then Iowa beating Nebraska as a parlay.
Nice. Yeah, no, I would agree. But by the way, we've had this whole time, we've been a little too positive. How the fuck is this over under 32.5? This is like the lowest in Power 5, like almost history.
Wait, which over under?
This game, Iowa at Minnesota. Sorry. Yeah, we've been yeah.
The one right here.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I already put money on it. I had to take the over on it. Dude, I cannot, in good faith, put an under 32.5. Iowa spurred me too much. Oh, my goodness. That was just historically low numbers.
14 to 18, basically. Is what they're thinking.
Yeah.
17 to 15. Yeah, 17 to 15. Yeah, close.
Either or. That depends on if you want Iowa to cover or not.
Yeah. I mean, typically I would be agreeing with that. If you would have told me that earlier in the year, I'd been like, yeah, that's fucking way too many points. But yeah, now with Iowa rolling on offense, and when I say that, I mean barely doing anything, but
they're scoring double digits now. That's rolling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've put the car instead of in reverse and slamming it into the back wall, they put it in neutral and it's slowly just gliding. I'm surprised. Like, I was shocked at, again, both mediocre offenses, great defenses, but like we said, I was put some stuff together. I don't know how that line didn't go from 30. Like, that line has been flat all week, 32.5 the whole time. So I don't know. I put money on Iowa over, so of course that means it's going to be 6-3 by the end of it.
Vegas
which
knows.
Is fine with me. Yeah.
I can't wait to watch. I'm gonna tune into Caesars like in the second, in the halftime or third quarter, and I want to see how low that real time over under can get. Like I want to see an over under of does this break 17 points? Like I want to see that how low it can get.
I would love a game that doesn't break 17 points. That would be, man, I'd be
You're
a wreck the
disgusting,
whole
Joey.
game.
I'm the opposite.
That's why you guys watch Big 12 and I watch Big 10.
No, I'm just saying for my own health, I want the game to break 45 points, and I want the score to be 45-0 Iowa State, so it's sweat-free, no worries.
There you go.
Trent,
Yeah,
as a Hawkeye fan, I've never had where the game just broke free for no worries. If Kirk is up 2 points, he's sitting on that lead.
Kirk won't let it happen.
The best was that Big Ten commercial where it's like, what's the most overrated stat? And Kirk was just like, offensive efficiency or something. He's like, if we got a lead, it doesn't matter if you have to keep. It's just like, God, it's the most boring and yet most accurate answer he could have given in that Big Ten interview.
I think I finally figured it out with Iowa. So Kirk, he wants to keep Iowa fans stressed and having to go. He's employed by the University of Iowa, which he probably gets paid a lot from that hospital. So he's trying to keep their cardiology revenue coming in. He's a smart man.
This kid works with a hospital. He knows the dirty business on how they make money over there.
Yep. And
so he actually
half
half his salary comes from some ag-based farmers co-op thing in the state of Iowa, which is one of the reasons that they're arguing that this Cy-Hawk series thing is never going to end because the farmers want it to happen. And I agree with it. So,
yeah.
Money talks. I saw a website that said
money
that,
from. So he's taking money from the farmers because America needs farmers, but Iowa State is actually helping farmers and not being paid by them. Okay.
AHF.
No. So they both funnel in money to both sports, athletic departments.
Come on, Joey, just let me have this one.
It sounds like a Ponzi scheme to me. If Kirk's involved, somehow there's dirty dealing.
Yeah.
I am not letting you have this because I was driving all day and saw all you fuckers talking shit on the Twitter group about Iowa, and I just didn't even chime in. So I'm not letting anyone have anything.
No one gets anything.
No. You shall not pass.
Oh shit! Anything more? And I think Iowa wins this one. I'm surprised Iowa's the underdog, to be honest. I mean, maybe because they're on the road, but I don't know. Minnesota was Iowa State earlier this year. Yeah, you might have the better team, or like Iowa State last year. You might have the better team. You have to beat Iowa, though. Like, you have to prove it. I have to see it with my own eyes. Until then, Iowa wins this one. So
at Minnesota, it's basically Kinnick North. So I don't like talking shit, but I really hate PJ Fleck. So I hope Iowa smashes them.
Oh, did you see that?
Now that Scott Frost is gone.
Yeah.
What's that?
He's moved up your power rankings of hated Big 12 or Big 10 West coaches.
He is number one now. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Did you see that picture of him at that, like, I don't know if it was like a booster party or wherever the hell it is, where he was dressed up all fancy and stuff?
No.
I didn't see this.
Trent, you said you did see it?
No, I did not.
Okay, give me a second. I'm pulling it up on Twitter right now. All right. And again, I apologize for everyone that's just listening to the pod, but again, tune in on Thursdays every week at 8:30 on Thursday night. We break down college football, and you can see us live, our beautiful faces. But you're telling me this guy Joey, PJ Fleck,
that's like awfully risque for an early 1900s woman showing some ankle.
Yeah,
he looks like a cracked out Howie Mandel.
Oh my God, Jesus, Joey!
He looks like
now you say it that way.
Yeah, like Howie Mandel went on a bender and lost all his socks and was wading through the fountains in Vegas. That's what he looks like there.
Which back in the day, that could have been Howie Mandel.
Ooh, right.
The stories are true with all the drugs and crap he did.
Howie Mandel, he got into trouble on TikTok a couple months ago. Did you guys hear about this?
No.
So he posted a TikTok, and I apologize. This is going to get a little graphic here, but he and yeah, I'm going to say spoiler warning. If you don't want to hear anything disgusting, if you're listening to this audio, or I see a couple people are on live, just mute it for a second. But he posted a TikTok, and you can make anything your background, kind of like in Zoom calls and stuff, and it can be any picture you want. Well, he posted a picture of a prolapsed anus, and he goes, "This is my buddy. He said he got this while in COVID. Is this good?" And it just he's got like over 1 million followers on TikTok, and he's just like, "Is this bad? Can someone tell me?" Like as a joke, and I think it's fucking hilarious, but like everyone was like. Yeah, I mean, he posted it seriously. Like, I don't know if he posted it like on a Saturday night, but I woke up on your couch, Joey. That was like 2 months ago when I was down there. I woke up on your couch at like 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning, scrolled TikTok, and that was like one of the first 3 videos I saw. And my brain was broken the rest of the day. I couldn't figure out how a celebrity with a PR team just posts that on social media. And everyone to this day, they still go, "We didn't forget Howie. We remembered that you posted that prolapsed on your TikTok." So yeah, he doesn't post too much anymore.
Hopefully, Dylan within the zone doesn't like check my Twitter because we will be kicked off real quick.
I'm
the
gonna
worst
start
thing
posting
that ever happened
only
to Twitter
prolapsed anus.
Yeah, oh Lord. The worst thing that ever happened to Twitter, and showing how good of friends I have, is I used to follow some risque accounts, and I'd like some pictures, and I'd have someone screenshot it and send it to me like, "Bryant, quit liking photos like this." And I go, "Oh crap! Why if I like something that's like, hey, your buddy liked this? Why do you need to know? If I want people to see what I like, I'll retweet it. You know."
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. Yep. I had a couple people do that on Instagram. I didn't know that they could see what you liked. And I was like, what the fuck? And they're like, you're liking all of these women. And I'm like, well, first of all, I'm single, so it doesn't fucking matter. And then
number 2,
yeah.
I'm sorry, what else is Instagram for? I'm sorry. If
Yeah,
I want
exactly.
funny, I'll go to Twitter. Instagram is for the girls.
Right. So anyway, I started making sure that all that shit was turned off now. So.
Yep. I agree. I'm a 32-year-old man now. I gotta watch what I like on my fucking social medias. Oh, I want the good old days where I could just like something and no one knew what I liked. Speaking of something that I'm ashamed I kind of like right now, Texas Tech, they're a 3.5-point underdog going into Iowa State. Over under 47.5 points. It's 6 o'clock on FS1. Oh, by the way, Iowa plays at 3 o'clock on Fox this weekend, so do with that with you will. But we're on Little Brother Network again, so no one will really see this game. But I'm surprised we're a 3.5-point favorite again. We talk about how we keep losing opportunities, and we're within the margin. Within that margin again.
I don't get it either. I get we're at home, but how are we favored in any game right now?
And sadly, these are the games I can't find the stat for Matt Campbell, but I mean, like in these 3 to 6 point underdog games,
Yep.
I mean, he's like 2-10. I mean, he has a very strong losing record in these close games right now, at least against the spread, let alone just outright. For me, and this is going to spoil my lock of the week here, but I mean, I'm picking the under in this game. I have a picture here I'm going to share again from our agenda, but I mean, with this total of 47.5, first off, I'm surprised that was even as high as it was, but Iowa State has held every opponent in the Big 12 underneath their scoring average here. Getting it pulled up here. Sorry.
Yeah, and I don't know if like Vegas sees, this is in Ames. Texas Tech is in West Texas. It's usually hot there. It's usually cold in Iowa in November. They're not going to want to play. I don't know. Maybe that's what they see.
Ooh, it's so cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, you can see right now just from the season totals. I mean, again, this is just a testament to John Heacock, but Kansas averages 39 points a game, got 14 versus us. Kansas State 33, scored 10. West Virginia 33, scored 14. Oklahoma State 37, scored 20. Texas 35, scored 24. Oklahoma 32, scored 27. And then Baylor was the closest, scores 35, scored 31. But every single game, we're holding a Big 12 team underneath their average. So I don't know.
And it's crazy. It's not just we're holding them under their average. 4 out of these 7 are over 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
under their average. It's not like 1 or 2 points.
Yeah. So I mean I don't know how that over under is that high. I mean I'm not too familiar with the intricacies of Texas Tech, but I don't know, man. I'm only comfortable betting the under right now because we've got to win in the. I agree we have to win in the margins, but I haven't seen anything we're doing this year to indicate that we're going to make the next step, especially with how weak our line is. Did Will Anderson get a sack last week?
Or I think he or McDonald.
Yeah,
I don't think he did.
So he's still half sack away
did.
from. Yeah. No, he's been, and that just shows the kind of the selflessness of Will McDonald. He's kind of been taking those double, triple teams, and he's been opening everything up for Ryan, for Anderson. I mean, the defense is doing their part, and Joykin has been there with us. It is just a shame what this offense is doing that we cannot win these games after the defense holds. You just saw 5 teams underneath their average. 4 or 3 under 2 touchdowns underneath their average. I mean, that's just. I'll be honest, man. I hate to even use this word. It's shameful. It is shameful how bad this offense has, where they're not adapting to their weaknesses, not even their strengths. We know X is a strong wide receiver. We know Deckers can make throws. We're not adjusting to the weakness of the line and the weakness of this offense to counter it, really. So. I don't know, man. I would say I'm still going to watch. Unfortunately, that's the bad part of being a Homer fan. I'm going to watch every freaking second of it and be pissed the whole time, ruin my evening. But I don't know. I hope we can get it done. Put us to 5-6. Maybe there's a miracle run where there's a lot of bowl games that aren't settled yet. There might be a decent amount of 5-7 teams that make bowl games. So
a lot of people are
academics.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying Iowa State will probably get into a bowl at 5-7. And again, I'll be busy this weekend. I got to go to a wedding, so I won't be watching much of this.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot. I'm actually officiating my brother's wedding, so I won't be watching this game. So I will actually be having a good time on Saturday. But I will be periodically checking my phone, getting pissed if we're behind. But if we can get this game, like I said, we have a very good outsider's chance of the 5-7 team that can sneak in like Rutgers last year. So I made fun of them last year, but if I can get into a bowl game, we'll take it this year. That's for damn sure.
Bryant's gonna pull his phone out of his pocket.
God
damn it, Iowa State! You may now kiss the bride.
Everyone bow their heads in prayer. Dearly beloved, we're no.
That's why you're gonna have everybody bow their head and pray, so you can sneak out your phone while nobody's looking.
Yeah, everyone bow their head. Dear God, why are you doing this to me? I mean, dear God, thank you for your.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably going to be my lock of the week is the under in that game. 47.5 points is just a shit ton of points in one of our games anyways. So, other big games of the week. Another terrifying one, TCU at Baylor. The last 2 times there's been a team that went 10-0 in Big 12. They've lost in week 11 at Baylor. I mean, what the fuck kind of odds are that it's the exact same week and the exact same opponent?
Oh, man.
I mean, that's got the Big 12 playoff implications. Number 21 Illinois at Michigan. I think Illinois will slow them down enough. I don't think they got enough to stop them. Maybe hold them underneath their average. Georgia at 27 Kentucky. Who knows if something can happen? I doubt it. Number 8 USC at number 12 UCLA. That should be a pretty decent matchup. And then and these are 2 games that are going to set up the Pac-12 championship. And then number 13 Utah at number 6 Oregon. Any big games that you're wanting to talk about or that you guys are looking forward to?
So I'm looking Oh, that sucks. I was hoping USC and UCLA would be like Pac-12 after dark, so I get home late from that wedding, I can watch that game.
Yep.
But the Utah-Oregon game is so.
Yep, that'll be 9:30 game. What's the USC? Is that
7?
You'll probably still be able to catch the end of that.
Yeah, but if I get home at any decent hour, the Iowa State game it starts an hour earlier, so that's what I'm gonna watch.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I really like that USC UCLA game. I almost went with UCLA winning, but they looked pretty bad last week, losing to Arizona. I didn't really like that game from them, so not happy with that. But yeah, that Utah Oregon game, that's another big Pac-12 game that's gonna be good. And then what was it? Oh, I think Michigan just beats the shit out of Illinois. I really like what Bert's doing over there in Champaign, but I just think Michigan's on another level for everyone in the Big Ten, including Ohio State.
So real quick, Michigan 18-point favorites at Illinois. Do they cover?
That's my pick of the week. I do have them picked.
Okay, excellent. Yep. Trent, do you agree with
that? Michigan covering.
Yeah, 18 points.
I think they go big. Got to get them style points.
Yep.
USC is a 2.5-point favorite at UCLA at the road game in their same town, but
right.
Do you think USC covers that?
Gun to my head, I'm picking UCLA money line with that. I think UCLA wins outright.
Oh, if I was betting it, I'd probably just take the points because it's only plus 105 compared to minus 110 just to get those extra 2 points. But I mean, that would be classic Lincoln Riley to piss it down your leg when you have the playoffs and opportunities in front of you. So
I guess just to answer your question, if UCLA keeps it close, I think they win. So there's that.
Has Jordan? We made a huge deal about how Jordan Addison left and went to USC. I mean, has he had any solid stats this year? Have you guys kept up with the Pac-12 or anything this year?
I've actually tried to not keep up with the Pac-12 besides UCLA because I just hate that. I don't, again, like I said at the beginning of the year, I don't trust anyone coming out of this conference to do anything. So I don't know. I'll look up their stats real quick if you want to keep talking.
Oh, no. Yeah,
he's got 40 receptions for 587 and 7 touchdowns. So decent. Compare him to UCLA's top receiver, Bobo. That's 43 receptions, 651 yards, and 6 touchdowns.
For reference, Xavier Hutchinson has 97 receptions for 1,059 yards and 6 touchdowns. Charlie Jones, 87 receptions, 1,010 with 10 touchdowns. Don't ask me why I chose 2 teams I played against Iowa this year, but I mean, it just popped up on my feed.
Well, if we're doing that, I might as well look up what the whole Iowa team stats are.
Like on defense, or what are you talking about?
Yep.
So
no, on offense.
It has been a nice. It's kind of like as a college football fan in general. You're looking that up. It's kind of been nice having the Pac-12 relevant again. It sucked when it was just Oregon or just Washington, and it just USC was a shell of itself. UCLA was garbage. Utah competed every year, but it just kind of sucked because it would always be like it wasn't even there cannibalizing. They just shit the bed at one point in the year, and then the Pac-12 was just out of it. So it's kind of nice seeing 4 teams that are in the top 13 right now.
We are only a year, almost 2 years removed from the Pac-12 going 0-8 in bowl games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, we're trying to keep it positive, but yes, I do agree. I mean, it was for good reason. The Pac-12 has just been awful in the past. I mean, hell, even Oregon State, who's kind of been if you're going to say little brother of that conference, them Stanford, Cal. I mean, they're relevant this year. Stanford's beat Notre Dame. I mean, they've got some teams that are getting some decent wins. They're at least the conference is elevating itself before it collapses after USC and UCLA leave.
Yep.
How many? All right. So what were the Xavier Hutchinson and Charlie Jones stats again?
1,059 and 6 touchdowns, and then 1,010 and 10 touchdowns. I think it doesn't matter. I have it closed in front of me now. But
Iowa as a team has 7 yards and 5 touchdowns.
And but that includes Laporta, and he's from tight end U, I hear. So.
Yeah, I mean that includes tight ends.
Take away the tight ends. What do the receivers have?
Oh God, I'm not even going to waste my time breaking down the stats anymore.
Way less is the answer.
Yep.
But
yep.
I don't know. The other thing I don't get is Iowa kind of reminds me of like what happened to the Bears. They were just playing conservative, mediocre offensive football, and the Bears just trade away their defense. But then they go, well, we got to open the playbook, and they just got aggressive. And look at you're scoring 30 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Chase Claypool is not the main reason, but I know it helps. But like, it's just been amazing the last couple of weeks. I was just like, you know what, we can just start throwing posts to our tight ends, and all of a sudden it's just like, wow, this 6'7" guy can get wide open versus linebackers with shorter, stubbier legs and aren't as tall as them. Who'd have thunk,
What? It's so weird that we can actually throw a pop pass,
Mm-hmm.
We worry about Peters. We worry about Peters' accuracy if he holds on to the ball too long. Get the fucking ball out of his hands. Like, Come on, guys. Come on, man.
And then it's amazing. Now the defense has to lay off a little bit because they have to rely on someone of the run. And now your freshman, sophomore running backs have a little more room to run. And now the line doesn't have as much pressure. Amazing offensive football right now.
It's almost like we've watched football games before.
That's where I wonder sometimes, like with Tom Manning now and Brian Ferentz earlier, and it's like, how are you at college level and you're not making adjustments? Like Iowa finally got their head out of their ass and they made adjustments, and look where they're at now. They're winning. They're about to win their own damn division. After being the laughing stock for the first 5-6 weeks of the college football season. I mean, it just, I don't know, man. Good on them. At least they figured out and they made some switches. But as far as the big games, like I said, my biggest concern is just TCU. Just whenever I hear stats like that specific week, like just jinxing, like I was almost for certain Michigan State was going to beat Michigan because Michigan State was 11-0 every week that Drake dropped an album. Like, I mean, I hear that stat and I was like, you go through the history, it's like, well, goddamn, they're about to go 12-0 and beat Michigan, and then they shit the bed, of course. But
thank God.
Yeah, I'd say those kind of stats just stick with me. I'm terrified with TCU Baylor. That's like the Big 12's existence right now is TCU elevating us just enough, So I don't know. Hopefully they get it done here, but I guess the last section here in Don's favor, we got our Pulse Pick'ems. We'll kind of go over last week's picks. Joey, you nailed that one on the fucking head with your pick. Joey had Navy covering 15.5 versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame only beat them by 3, so you called that shit real good. If you could have been alternate line, Joey, and I would have had Navy at 3 plus 3.5.
Right? Yeah, I almost picked them money line because I thought Navy was going to beat Notre Dame, but I didn't. I went with the points smartly. So yeah, I just don't think Notre Dame's that good. They were on my list of teams to take this week, and I just don't trust them. They seem to play to their competition, and I don't trust them to be good against anybody. So
Iowa had that problem for the longest time, but it's like because like with Notre Dame, you're going to ball out and you're going to beat Clemson, but then Navy the next week, we'll kind of see what happens. But Trent, I mean, honestly, let's look at it this way: you had Oklahoma covering 7.5 versus West Virginia. West Virginia just won outright 23-20. But it kept your season bet alive with Brett Venables struggling in Oklahoma's first year and keeping him out of the conference championship. So you were technically right the whole season.
Yeah. Didn't matter what this one was.
Yep.
I just saw what Iowa State did to West Virginia the week before. I figure, okay, Oklahoma can do this. Nope.
Yeah, and then nope. Oklahoma's just been one of those teams where I've heard some podcasts, just interesting conversation. Like it was a unnecessary roughness for Barstool. They cover all teams in college football, and they went over every school. And if the teams have their guy as a coach, I mean, Venables at 5-5 this year. He didn't inherit a bad program. In fact, they had 51 blue chip prospects between 4 and 5-star recruits. How the fuck are you ever 5-5 at this point in the season?
Mm-hmm.
So
Texas
I
A&M.
don't know. I mean, does Oklahoma move on from Venables after this year or next year if it continues?
I think you give him another year, at least
Yeah,
another full year.
Yep, that's
I
what I was
think-
gonna say.
I think so as well because he was the defensive coordinator with them for their national championships. But boy, he's got to be on a tight leash because I mean, for our teams, I mean, for Iowa, you go 6-6. That's kind of a rough year, but you'll kind of take it. You go to a bowl game. Iowa State, we're kind of sitting all right. We're up. We're disappointed in 5-7, but we're not up in arms and saying we need to get rid of Campbell. You know, we know we need to make some adjustments. Oklahoma 5-5. I'm surprised they aren't burning down that fucking university right now. To be honest, I mean they just have a different standard down there, and 5-5 ain't going to cut it. No matter how many good boy points you have for using for having played for him in the past and been a defensive coordinator. That if he doesn't show something soon, I think they get rid of him sooner than later. You've seen college football the last couple of years. Auburn got rid of their coach.
Mhm.
They know that you have to get a coach before the end of the new coach before the end of the season, before the transfer portal, because that's where you're immediately getting your talent.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I would say it'll be interesting how that breaks down. Clark had the biggest balls. He took TCU money line versus Texas wasn't TCU the underdog -6.5 or +6.5.
Yes.
So I would say he went pretty good there. TCU did beat Texas 17-10. I had Iowa State under 48.5, and I mean we were well underneath that, 34 points total as Oklahoma State beat us.
Mhm.
And
By
then
2
Ryan
touchdowns.
yeah, with ease on that. And then Ryan had LSU covering 3.5 versus Arkansas, and they didn't cover. I don't know how Arkansas kept it that close, but again, a win's a win in the SEC, so it is what it is. But
Ryan picked that Bryant bet. Hey, my team won, but I lost my bet, so I'm still kind of happy.
exactly. I mean that is. I'm sure there's a definition for that or like a saying for it, but yeah, it's like the gambler's like, I am going to win either emotionally or financially.
Yep.
But not both at that point. So, week 12 favorites. Joey, what is your game of the week here, or your pick of I guess lock of the week here?
So I was gonna go Michigan covering the 18, but then we started talking over unders, and I kind of like that over under of 40. I think it's gonna go way over that between the two of them.
It's
I think
only
Michigan.
40.
Yeah, it's 40.5.
I like that.
Dude.
That's a good bet.
Illinois' offense, dude. Are you thinking Michigan's just going to outscore them that badly?
I think they're going to outscore them that badly, and then Illinois might get a few junk possessions and score some touchdowns score some points in the fourth quarter. Yeah.
Okay.
What's that?
I just said 35-7. You think that could be a score? I mean, that would break the 40 points that you need.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I think that's what they're going to go with. So, yeah, I'm going to go over in that game. But, I mean, secondary pick, I would pick Michigan to cover that 18 also.
Excellent. You could do, Joey. Could parlay it.
I'm gonna. Good call.
Start picking that real money, bud.
Trent, who do you got?
I have TCU at Baylor going over 56.5. Both these teams can score. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. But, I mean, you talked about Baylor winning this because of some obscure stat, week 11, whatever. But I still think TCU wins this, but in a high-scoring game.
I was just going to say, you're not worried about Baylor only scoring 3 last week versus Kansas State, which Kansas State has a tough defense too. But...
Yes, they do. But no, I think this is going to be a back and forth, putting up points.
I'll agree with that. I mentioned Iowa State. It's going to be under 47.5. If that becomes a shootout, I don't even want to think about it because that means Texas Tech is shooting out because I haven't seen us being able to score a bunch of points this year. So yeah. I have to just believe Iowa State's going to go under 47.5, and we have the stats to prove it. Every Big 12 team has been held underneath their season total, so I'm feeling pretty safe here. We're just going to speak for Clark and Ryan. We're going to have Clark is going to say who does Kansas State play this week?
Ooh, I have this. Have this up here. Big 12. Let's see. Kansas State plays West Virginia.
He's going to have Kansas State covering 7.5, West Virginia. And then Ryan's going to have LSU covering in UAB. I just got to figure out what the total in that or the spread in that is.
I thought it was like 23.5 or something like that. It wasn't huge.
CBS has it as 15-point spread versus UAB. I think it's pretty, especially if you're LSU and you think you do have that realistic outside chance to make the playoffs. I think you smother UAB in order to make, especially after a close win last week. You got to prove why you're number 6 in the country.
Yeah.
How is it only 15?
That's what I thought. Like, that seems very low.
Wow, yeah.
1 week ago, we're going, how is it only 3.5 versus Arkansas, though?
Yeah, but at least they're a Power 5 SEC school.
Hey.
That was ranked at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I do not want to hear any disrespect to the UAB Dragons. As the Iowa State fans know, UAB has a fantastic athletic program, and it is not a shame if you ever lose to them.
No, never.
So we're making Clark take Kansas State 7.5.
Yeah, okay. We're just making their favorite teams cover. That's all.
So if Clark and Ryan listen to this, we're just making your pick for the pod. How about you go into the Google Doc and make your own pick? Legit. And we'll talk about that pick next week.
Yeah, I mean, we're I would say we gave them adequate amount of time. They didn't fill it out, so now we have to fill it in for them. We're just trying to keep the whole crew involved.
Right, and I just need to know. I need to know what bets I need to put in tomorrow when I stop for gas. So,
or do we have Clark have Kansas covering 9? That was going to be the other big game I forgot to put in there because it doesn't have playoff implications. But Texas revenge at Kansas.
Yes.
Yeah. Texas is playing at Kansas. Kansas is a 9-point underdog. It sounds like they're getting Jalen Daniels back.
Kansas money line.
Ooh.
Kansas money line. Joe, you want to put that in the parlay, or do you want to throw the money away?
Kansas has Texas's number every year.
I'm looking up. Kansas is plus 260.
Kansas money line.
I don't know. I mean, Texas has kind of been dookie on the road this year. I don't. I mean, that kind of legitimately worries me about. I mean, Texas should. I mean, this should be the easiest spread for them, but I mean, on the road they're only 2-2 against the spread. Let me see here. I'm going on the road. They're 2-2 just straight up money line. Kansas at home 4-1 money line.
I'm gonna let you guys make the decision so that I will just put it in my parlay. You guys decide.
If you want a 5-team parlay, that's legitimate. Keep the Kansas State in there, but I'm just throwing some stats out there for people that might be interested in the Kansas money line. You never know. There's twos of dozens of them out there.
Kansas money line. I'll say it again.
All right, put it. It won't be your official bet, Trent, but I want you to put it on your line there, just so next week we can judge it. We were talking about the SEC money line, Joey. I'm going to see if we can. Give me one second. I'm trying to find like the biggest spread here on the week. We've already talked about Michigan. Florida State. No, I want something that is kind of. Oh, the Texas. I want you to bet just for your side bet. Texas A&M, 33.5 point favorite versus UMass, one of the slowest paced teams in the country. Does Texas A&M have enough to win by 5 touchdowns?
Well, if UMass is such slow pace, that means they're going to control the ball. Like I said earlier, I want them to.
I don't think they control the ball if they're going out 3 and out every possession.
That's true. I want them to upset Texas A&M.
That'd be awesome.
All right, I'll switch it up to your, I think, 7th favorite team, Tennessee. Do they cover 22 versus Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks?
I think so. I think they're also going for style points. So they need that because they aren't going to be able to play in the championship game. So if they need to go out in style and just start running all over people. So yeah, I think they cover that.
Okay. And then my big spread of the week here, Washington is going to cover 31 versus Colorado.
Is Colorado,
That-
like I said, I haven't paid attention to much of the Pac-12. Is Colorado really that bad?
I mean, they are pretty putrid. Let me just pull up their stats. They are
1-9.
they're 1-9. They're 2-8. No, they're 2-8. Oh no, hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. This is spread. They're 1-9 overall. They're 2-8 against the spread. They're 0-5 against the spread on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Washington, by the way, is 4-2 at home.
Who is their one win against?
Cal, who's 3-3, 1-2 in the conference.
So a conference game. That's amazing. You'd think it'd be a non-con, just a garbage game.
This might be the. I'll be honest. From what I can see, it looks like this is supposed to be an over-under. Like this should be an over-under game. The over is in for both these teams. For Colorado, it's 7-3 overall. For Washington, it's 6-3-1 overall. The over-under in this game is 64 points. So I'm trying to think if I should take the Washington spread or the over-under. Or the over. I'm not taking the under. Yeah, I'll just take Washington cover. I don't think Colorado's going to be dick. So,
all right.
Well, I think we've BS'd enough here. I mean, we've hit our 90 minutes. We're going to get that extra credit from Anchor and all that monies from YouTube and all that.
Exactly.
I don't know. You boys got anything else you want to wrap up with college football here?
I've got everything off my chest for the week here. Hopefully, I get to watch some. We'll see.
I'm good, and I'm going to put some money down and see what I can win for this weekend. I'll let you all know on Twitter what the bet comes up to. So we'll see.
Awesome. Yeah, dude.
I'll probably throw like $20 on that parlay, which 80 would have won me 1,200 last time. So we'll see what this one does for 20.
Dude, I can't do that, man. Like last week was like, I know it was kind of fluke, like just throw the money out there, but like, man, I hear some people in real life that are just putting $40, $60 like 3-game parlays. That is too rich for my blood, dude. I feel bad when I have a $5 bet with 2-game parlay not hit because I'm like, man, that could have been $20, but at least it was only a $5 loss, you know?
Yeah, but last time that was all free money that I won the night before, so I was playing with house money. I'm okay with that. Yep. I didn't lose anything. So
you're just playing yourself at the house. So Joe, you want to hit him with those socials?
Yep. As always, find us on Twitter and Instagram at Heartland Pulse. Search us on, until Twitter goes bankrupt and you can't find us on any of that anymore. So, yeah, that's that.
That'd be terrible.
But yep. And then Facebook, just search Pulse of the Heartland. We're also live on YouTube right now. You can find all our YouTube. And then we've announced it a couple times now, but we're also part of In the Zone Media. So inthezone.studio is where you can find us online. I posted an article about UFC last night. All of our podcasts are on there. And there's a bunch of other great writers that aren't on our podcast. They are part of our In the Zone team. And they shit a lot of good NFL content, a lot of good wrestling content if you're into WWE stuff. So a little bit of stuff for everybody. So go out there and watch that. That's inthezone.studio.
Remember, from last night, Heartland Pulse. It's in the zone.
In the zone. So, but all right, guys. Well, we do appreciate you listening, and we'll see y'all next week.